Like, there's a reason they don't hire bands to play in venues from, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Nothing's
yeah,
happening.
exactly.
Yeah.
Though I enjoy a good, impersonator show.
I thought you were saying
For
enjoy a good
breakfast?
band at 10 a.m.
I'll enjoy that. Come on.
Which
Some
is
What's
kind of
New
what you said.
Pussycat over the omelet? That's what I'm looking for. A little Tom Jones.
Open it up, Jim.
Hey,
Business
don't
idea.
threaten me with a good idea.
This episode is made possible by our deity,
Ooh.
the Dark Lord himself, Jim's Fasha, and our
Fasha.
therapy partners, Dirty, B, and Pickets. From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. And now, broadcasting from the churn, that's Jim, that's Whitney, I'm Nick. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
Ho, ho, ho! We are in December, hoes.
Don't call me a hoe.
Oh, shit. Welcome to the December episodes. So much going on. First off, if you'd like to send us a holiday card,
Yes.
we would love that.
I love holiday
We're really
cards.
into your holiday cards. We have a lot of long-term patrons. We look forward to their holiday cards every year. Always look forward to Rob and Kate. Their holiday card is coming in the mail. We always are waiting with bated breath. You can find our address, fuck it, I don't know, somewhere. I think it's on the website. I know it's on the Discord.
You're doing great.
Thanks, bud.
I can just say it if you'd like me to just say
Do that. Yeah, do that.
Yeah, you can send it to Pod Therapy, care of Jacob Smith,
There you go.
4262 Blue Diamond Road, Suite 102-318, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89139. Again, if you'd like to hear that address, rewind your podcast device about 10 seconds.
Yeah, this is 2024. You have buttons.
And if you
That's
happen
fair.
to be in Vegas, that's Jim's home address.
Yeah.
So
Just
feel free
swing
to
on
stop
by.
and...
Swing on by.
All mail to Jim's house has to be done in care of me.
Yes.
Yep.
As all my mail is.
Yeah.
Just in case. So definitely send us those holiday cards because we are in the thick of it. We love that kind of stuff. And other interesting news, I am again the reigning best of Las Vegas
Wah,
therapist.
wah.
Thank you, everybody who voted for me and made this possible. Yes, sexual sounds. That's what this is.
Why are they sexual, Jim?
Why can't they be? I think it always is.
It doesn't say what he's the
When
best
you're
of Las
number
Vegas
one,
in.
it's always
That's
sexual.
true.
So thank you. Thank you to all of you, especially the Patreon community, because I know I would not
He's the
keep winning
best
these.
fucking therapist in
There it
all of
is.
Las Vegas.
Yeah, I don't win for my abilities. I win for what I do
Oh, no, it's your abilities.
between the sheets.
Between the walls
That's
of the private
From
room.
the window!
To the padded wall. Mental health joke.
Oh, damn. It's going to be a good night. So
Got
thank
him.
you, everybody. But speaking of Jacob, who we have now referenced several times, it's time. The end of the year is fast approaching, and as promised, a tournament is in the works.
What did I promise?
Patreons are hard at work for the title fight. They have decided it's going to be called the title fight.
Okay.
It's the fight to win back my doctorate.
Who
So
came up with
the
this?
trivia challenge is being developed right now. Jacob,
Wait, what?
v me.
What?
No, that was not the deal.
Oh, what is the pudding fight?
Yeah,
Okay, fine. We can also fight in pudding.
We agreed
Pudding.
on pudding.
Yeah.
I didn't agree to any quiz shit.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. We're
I
filling up
agreed
the
to
pudding.
pudding boxing.
Guys, we don't have the budget. I think we have the budget for people coming up with free trivia. I don't know if we have the budget
Well,
for
send
a
in
shit ton
your
of fucking
instant
pudding.
boxes when you send in.
Yeah. Give the address again.
The
Send
card.
your pudding boxes to Jacob Smith.
Yeah, that's right. Care of Pod Therapy. Yeah, we need those as fast as possible, please.
I feel like loser also has to pay for the pudding.
Yep. So that is going to be part of our season finale coming up here at the end of December as we wrap up season 7.
Wait,
We've
what
been
the fuck
doing
do
this
I
shit
win
for
from
7.
doing this?
You get to keep the title. That's how you got to
I
defend the
get to
belt.
keep the title right now.
Defend the fucking belt.
Look at me currently
Defend
keeping it.
the belt. You got to defend it. But I think it's WWE rules, so there's a whole committee that's been organized.
I'll tell you the way that I will do this. You got to put some skin in the game, Jobin.
Lose the Masters.
Oh, no. I know
Go ahead.
Go ahead, tell him, Nick.
the best of Las Vegas.
All right. There are two things you got to put
Fuck up, Nick. Nobody asked you, dumbass.
And I'm going to need the real framed PhD.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. I think I got to bring it in. I think if we're doing this, we got to really bring it in.
Yeah.
And that's got to be part of this. But I think you got to put up so there's a committee that's been formed on Discord. There's a whole channel for this now where they are actively organizing this. They're also designing the rules. And
Okay.
so there is discussion. I'm not part of this, so I've only heard.
Nor
whispers.
should you be.
I should not
Yeah.
be. But there's discussion that it will be similar to the WWE, where basically it's like a cage match, but like anybody could walk out with the belt. So it could be one of these things where it starts with Jacob and I, but God only knows who ends up with this thing.
I mean, Whitney could use a PhD.
Why not? Yeah, just throw that shit.
This is the easiest
If
PhD
Whitney
I've
won
ever.
it and then put it on her private practice, that would be the fucking best.
I mean,
Just hang it on the wall in there.
Just hang it in there and never explain it.
Whitney has a genuine use for this thing.
This
You
would
just
help.
masking tape your name on the front of it.
Tape in the corners.
Oh, anyway, it's going to be a fun December. So
Yeah.
hang out with us. It's going to be
I would
great.
say it would be a December to remember.
I don't know if you
That's
knew
probably
this.
trademarked.
This should be the bit. I don't know if you knew this, but it's also Alzheimer's Awareness
It's going to be a white Christmas.
We just keep doing this for 7 months. This will be fun. Anyway, we got some great questions for today's show. If you want to enjoy our hangout, come over to patreon.com/therapy. Get to know us a little bit more. On a more human level, you can hear Nick's tale of woe. Whoa. Where Nick was stabbed in the back by a fellow therapist in a delightful way that I 100% approve.
And then the rest of us derailed his story in a way that frustrated him even more.
Of course, that's what we do. Nobody ever
Cue
gets
the
to
music.
actually
I
tell their
expect nothing
stories.
less.
That's just the deal here. Anyway, we've got some great questions today, and we're leading off with how necessary is sex to mental health? And here's the question. It's a short one. I'm a cis male that does like women, but I've never had sex before. I'm middle-aged at this point and have much less drive to seek it. However, I do often wonder, am I mentally unhealthy because I lack sex in my life? Is that something to seek therapy for? Everyone seems so driven by it, and I think there must be something with me to have it just kind of be so meh. Thanks, guys. Anonymous.
This is why I genuinely wish that sex work, and specifically prostitution, were legal and not stigmatized.
Okay.
Like, this would be perfect. Like, if like take away all that stigma and everything, and like, yeah, like I want to have sex for the first time with a human being.
I want to try this out.
I don't necessarily want to foster a relationship to get there. I don't want anyone to be injured or anything like that.
Yeah.
Let me go do this with somebody who is willing to take some money and like we'll have a good time.
Also, you know what? Quick plug for Nevada, because it is legal in Pahrump.
In parts of Nevada, yeah.
We have specific parts. Carson City, our capital, and Pahrump are the two places I'm aware of.
Based off the county size.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are other counties where it's legal as well.
Okay.
So if
the
the
county
county
has
is
to be-
over so many in population, then you can't do it.
Oh, if Pahrump gets too big, they're out?
Why
Yeah,
is that?
I think so.
Oh,
yeah.
That's just how the law's written.
Wow. Okay.
arbitrarily
So it's not
decided.
legal in proper Las Vegas.
Right.
Correct.
But you will see
It's
no
not legal
shortage
in
of
Clark
flyers. Yeah, you'll see lots of advertisements and do what you want, consenting adults. But yeah, if you ever wanted to, you come down to Pahrump, which is about 40 minutes north of Las Vegas. We have world-class brothels. Everybody
You
is.
live there?
I'm an investor.
Okay.
You know, I consider myself a
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, investing. Yeah, that's what it
He
is.
invests a couple times a week.
I invest.
You don't want Pahrump to
I
grow
invest
too
my
much, 'cause
liquidity.
then it won't be legal there.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So watch out.
That's right. But everything's cool. Everybody's clean. Enjoy yourself.
I feel like I have kind of heard about this where, you know, the longer you've gone without having sex, the less there is a desire to seek it out. Part of
Sure.
it being like you don't really know exactly what you're missing, I think is
Right.
part of that. And then I also, and this is just from like all different sources. This is not like science or anything, but you know, Reddit or some shit. But basically, it's kind of like, it just seems like a lot of work.
Okay.
And effort and overwhelming.
Oh,
and by the
to
time
start
you're
from
like
zero to
yeah,
like get it going.
So, like,
if you're,
find a
if
sexual
you're in
partner and-
middle
yeah, it
age,
is.
like in your 30s or 40s,
Yeah.
and you're saying, is this worth it? I think your brain's just in a different stage than when you're in your teens and 20s, where
Yeah.
Especially
very
if you're having a
driven.
pretty happy life.
Well, and
Right.
statistically, it's interesting because, and I don't know if we've ever talked about it on the show. I feel like Nick and I have talked about it at a bar once. But there's some, we talk about sex a lot.
Hurry
at
up
the
and
bar.
finish that sentence.
Just let's dwell. Fill in the
Nick's
blanks.
eyes.
It's Mad Libs. It's whatever you think it is. There it is. Thank you, Nick. Or Jacob. So we've talked about this at some point, but there's been some fascinating statistics about how sex rates have actually dropped.
yes,
And so like 1/3
young people are having less sex.
Yes, much less. And
Yes.
so like 1/3 of adults under the age of 30 have never had sex. And like another third have had sex less than X number of times in a year. And these rates are insanely lower than any other time since they've been keeping the data.
Yeah.
So like adults are having less sex ever, like sex is less important than ever. And there's all these hypotheses for that, right? Like the proliferation of pornography and like digital relationships and
2020.
yeah,
I've also
a lot of things.
one
2020 is a good
potential explanation I've heard for that in the past is people are just more honest now about not having sex.
Oh, that could be part of it
is
too.
a great point.
One theory, one like running theory is like
Yeah.
maybe
that's
that
a
number
really good
isn't quite
point.
as skewed as much
Maybe
as
it's always
it should
been
be.
that way. We're just finally saying that.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
not because we whatever, it's just something to be honest about. But yeah, it's interesting because like I think that in couples work, and Whitney, I'm interested in what your experience has been on this. In couples work, one of the things I'll often try to get a conversation around is this idea of like what are each of your needs in the relationship, right? And like that word does a lot of lifting, but it usually communicates this idea of like, I want each of you to be heard. I want your asks to be validated. I don't want it to be seen as trivial. I don't want it to be seen as something that's like, well, you could take it or leave it. And so we use that word need. And then we have a long list of suggestions that people might draw from, right? They might say, hey, I need more affection from you, or I need more communication and honesty from you, or recreational companionship, or financial support, or any number of things, right?
Yeah.
And sexual fulfillment's on there.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I think a lot of people do naturally assume that sexual connection at all is a psychological need. And if you go back to like deep psychology and the history of psychology, you talk about Freud and stuff like that. Like that was the hypothesis, right? His starter bid for a discussion about what drives humans was it's gonna be sex.
Yeah.
And then everybody else had to argue away from Freud and say maybe it's not sex, maybe it's this. But that has always been the drive, like the baseline bid for what it is. And so it's interesting, like the writer's question presumes so much about the emphasis that all of psychotherapy puts on sex, and especially couples work. And I understand where they're coming from because like I feel like it is in psychological history, and I feel like it comes up a lot in couples work. And I'm curious like what your view is on that. Like if couples ask you like, hey, is sex part of like a balanced mental health diet? Is it a requirement or is it an option? Is this an elective or is this core curriculum here for psychological health?
Well, I think what you were sort of touching on just a moment ago was that it really depends on the person. Like, so for example, I honestly do not work with couples.
Okay,
so
good for you. They're terrible.
I feel like that's a whole
They're
thing.
all liars.
And I would just
Best
have to like
of Las Vegas.
I know.
Because I shoot straight. I tell them up front. They stop fucking lying to me. Tell me the truth.
If you want me to therapize you, divorce first. I will not work with you as a couple.
Repair.
But working with clients, I mean, that topic is brought up a lot. It just came up last week in one of my sessions where the person I'm meeting with is not getting their sexual needs met. And their partner, it's like died off over years. And so they're stuck. It's like, what do we do? Because my need is this, and I've like done all the things. I've talked to them. They've acknowledged like, okay, I'll try and do better, and then nothing happens. So that's really tough because really when we're working with couples, it is both parties have to participate.
You gotta hear you. Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
But I think it also is really cultural too. Obviously, like there's rom-coms, all these TV shows. I mean, is there even hardly such a thing as a movie or a TV show that doesn't involve some aspect of
sexuality? Yeah, or the hint of it.
A hint of it, desire toward it. I mean, I know movies exist out there like that, but it's such a small category.
Yeah.
So many just touch on that subject, and so it normalizes it in a way that's like it's expected that you are desiring this too, and if you're not, you're the weirdo.
Right.
But that's not
Which,
accurate.
I mean, quick PSA, I think that we've had folks in the past write in, and we've got members of our community that have shared a little bit about their truth. But, a demographic that doesn't get enough attention is folks that identify as asexual. Yeah. And it's difficult for them because I think that, like you just mentioned, the preponderance of narratives in our society and even the presuppositions of this question, and as I've alluded to, the presuppositions of most psychology, is that you are only a well-balanced, healthy human being if you have some sort of healthy sex drive that you found a matching partner to.
Yeah.
And so for the asexual community, that's always been really difficult to sort of be castigated as like, oh, shit. Like, well, What's wrong with you?
You're not having sex,
Is
and then they
something
don't feel
Yeah,
comfortable
something
saying,
happened,
I just don't
right?
want
like,
to.
it must be something.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like, no, I just
totally.
don't dig it. Oh, so like, is something broken in your brain? Like, this is like, it's a very difficult thing.
Yeah.
But I think they also are a living example of why we can also appreciate that perhaps sexuality is not as much of a cornerstone of like all mental health as perhaps we think. But I don't know. I mean, it's a huge debate. I mean, you go back into psychological history, go back into the first experiments of psychohistory, a lot of people, talking about sexuality as a drive from the very, very beginning. And, Nick, as the writer's, kind of like pitching this here and saying, look, I've not had a lot of sex and I'm worried. Does that make me a broken person de facto? I mean, you're a 40-something-year-old virgin. How do you feel about that? I set you up.
Yeah, I know. I was like, he's pointing at me. I don't know why he's pointing at me. What he's talking about. No, I don't know. We get questions like this often, not necessarily just about sex, but just about mental health in general. Like people are saying a lack of X, Y, or Z causes depression, anxiety, or just being unhappy. I don't have these things. Am I unhappy?
Right.
As opposed to looking at the end result. Are you happy?
Right.
Yeah.
Start
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Subjectively,
Yes.
where
I'm
you're at.
happy. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then
Period.
let's not. Yeah. Then I think we're done. I think that's the end of the conversation. I mean, if you just have a low sex drive, but you're happy with where you're at, fine, great. I don't. And the writer is single. So it's not like they're in a relationship with another person who's also affected by this.
Right.
I think, if you're fine with where you're at, I wouldn't worry too much about whether or not this is mentally unhealthy or mentally healthy. It seems like you're doing fine.
Yeah. No, you nailed it. I think that any time, and I'm sure that this is true for you as well, Whitney, like if somebody comes in and asks that classic question of like, is this healthy that I do this or don't do this or don't have this or have this in my life? I think that we always kind of take a step back from whatever you think you've read, like on the internet or like in the latest poll. Let's back up and let's just talk about you.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
And that's everything. Like somebody says, oh, is it wrong that I don't go out this often with my friends? Is it weird that I don't have this many close friends? Is it weird that I'm not dating? Is it whatever it is? Is it weird that I'm not close to my parent? Is it weird that I'm not, friends with my siblings? Whatever the question is, I think we're always, like you said, Nick, into the subjective.
Yeah.
What is your truth?
Is this normal?
Yeah.
Quote unquote normal.
Right. What is your normal?
Yeah.
Right. And I love that, writer. And so that would be, I think a consensus point here is that if you are comfortable and you're looking around saying, look, my adult life has been going great. I enjoy my friendships. I enjoy my relationships. I don't find that this is something I yearn for. I don't find this is something that I am looking for. I have some curiosity about it, fine, but that's passive. It's not something that's driving me or I feel like I have a deficit in. But I'm just curious, is there some sort of like objective mental health deficit? No. I think we're all in agreement. There's not.
Yeah.
I don't see that. Not at all. Just as if the absence of any other relationship. If you're like, hey, I've never really had a strong grandparent relationship.
Right.
Do I have a mental health deficit? Other people talk about having great third generational contact. Do I have a deficit? No. No. For some people, it's great. That's necessary for them. They sing its praises. For you, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and using that as an example, for somebody that has a grandparent and had a terrible relationship with that grandparent and is still struggling with it today, then, for that person, that reality is, having that relationship would have been important or may have been impactful. But, but that person's reality isn't necessarily your reality.
Yeah. The absence of a thing, right? You don't know because you don't have any data pro or con against it. A lot of people have had horrible sex lives and horrible sexual experiences, and sex is one of the most traumatic parts of their existence and deeply uncomfortable and a source of all sorts of interesting complexities. They would be grateful to have had a story like yours where just sex never mattered.
Yeah.
And they could have just had all these friendships and family life and all these jobs and it just never mattered. So, writer, there's nothing like objectively, alarm belly about that. There's nothing about that I think that the three of us here that we think, something's wrong. You need to objectively just go have sex for the sake of having sex. It just doesn't matter. At the end of the day, as Nick said, it just comes down to your subjective truth. And if you report, I am doing well, I am well adjusted, I'm curious about this, but otherwise I'm doing fine, great. then we just want to meet you where you're at and keep running forward. So nothing about that is alarming. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're talking about women. Am I right? You're listening to Pod Therapy. Shut up, Whitney. Nobody asked you.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty Scoop, Mason Miller, Tess Miller, Tyler T, Paris, Team Monaco, Oscar Swanrose, Hannah Marie, Emma Kane, and Myra. And if you would like to hear this episode uncut and unedited, that's at the end of the show. But if you'd like to sponsor the show, you should become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy. No one even knows.
You're doing great, buddy. You're
sailed right through that.
Yeah. So talented.
Okay, we got some trivia.
Hell yeah, we do.
Going back to some stuff from Emma. We gotta wrap up this mental health in the animal kingdom one.
Oh yes.
We got 3 questions left on this one. Okay, here we go.
Is this a buzz-in thing? What is this?
This is going to be a multiple choice.
All right.
Do we go blind for 2?
Sure. What the
Okay.
fuck? Why
I
not?
like it.
Why not?
I will
You get to
stab
pick the
Jim's eyes
starter?
out for 2 points.
What?
We'll make him go
You picking
blind.
the starter, like in The Office, or is
Sure.
this
You want to do it that way?
whatever? You're the boss,
Let's do it
man.
that
I
way.
don't know how
Let's
you
do
run
it that
shit.
way. Let's do
All
it
right,
that way.
let's
A
go.
lot of eye
Jim, here you
contact.
go.
I like it.
Jim's question: which aquatic creatures can become depressed in captivity, refusing to eat and exhibiting lethargic
Whitney.
behavior similar to clinical depression in humans?
Give me orca whales
Dang it, that's
for
what
2.
I was gonna guess.
No.
Oh,
Also, not a whale.
Oh,
it said
They're
aquatic.
related to a dolphin. Yeah.
porpoise. All right,
Yeah.
so
Didn't
it
he
goes
say
to
aquatic
Whitney, right?
creatures?
It goes to Whitney.
Oh, but he
Whitney,
said
would you
whales.
like multiple choice?
Yes.
God damn it.
Clownfish,
Oh,
sea turtles,
Fuck this game.
jellyfish,
Wow.
or beta fish?
Don't pick betas. Don't
I was
be a
gonna
cuck.
say beta fish.
Cuckfish.
Okay, is that your final answer?
Don't do
Well,
it.
that makes me want to say no
be
when
a
Nick's
cuck.
asked that.
Yeah, you didn't give me that. You didn't give me a
Sea
foreboding
turtles.
tone.
Sea turtles.
This game's fucking
Okay.
rigged.
Final
Here we go.
answer.
Wrong.
Damn it.
Buzz.
Idiot.
Yes.
Clownfish.
No. It
Oh,
was,
can it come back to me?
It
Come
was
back to me.
beta
Come back
fish.
to me. God damn it.
Oh,
I should
it
have a
was.
fucking rebound. Come
All right,
on.
Nick, you're
I
right,
think,
but that's
Jim,
fair.
I think Jim loses 2 points.
No.
Yes.
Fuck this game.
Yes.
No, wait, tell you what. I'll give you 100 points right now
Okay.
for the best of Las Vegas.
Oh, just trade it?
Yep, 100 points.
I need to keep that. For...
1,000 points.
Oh, shit.
You're gonna
I don't like
take
it.
1,000.
Wait, are they extendable?
Yeah.
Can I use them
know what?
forwardly?
Yeah.
Into all
You can use them
future
the
games?
rest of this
Yes.
show.
Yes.
Honestly, if you would honor that would be pretty significant. I would strongly
Yes.
consider it
Yes.
if every game we ever played, you weren't allowed to inflate the points.
No.
And I was just able to win. All of
No,
them.
I'll tell you what,
You announce I am
Tell
the
you what.
winner every single time.
For everyone who wonders if these games matter
Season
to
8.
Jim.
It kind of do.
This is your answer.
I mean, I wouldn't take it.
Pod Therapy Season 8.
I'm the winner.
No.
I'm the,
No. But I'll give you a 1,000-point head start.
I'm the
Oh,
winner.
into season 8?
Yeah.
You're not going to fuck up the math.
No.
Yes, you will.
Nick
No, I will
never
not.
That's
messes
why
math
I
up.
won't do it.
I'm an Eagle Scout.
I don't.
I'll give you.
Oh, that is true.
Scouts on
That
it.
is true.
You give
That-
me 2024's best of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a 1,000-point.
I got to
head
give you
start.
the trophy.
Yes.
If I give you the trophy to hold
Yes.
on to.
And you have to take all of the evidence of you
no.
winning it off of all of your
Oh,
social
I don't
media
know.
and websites.
Yes.
Sorry, now we're getting into my actual livelihood.
1,000 points.
I can't
Like
say
that
1,000
matters.
points.
Like that matters.
Hold on. Do you think somebody's going to find your website
Yeah.
and see that
Oh, he
you
has
won
5
4
or instead
Yeah.
of 4.
and say like, ooh,
Not
if you
good
would have
enough.
won 5,
The fifth
then
one
I would
matters.
do it.
They're gonna
You think
wonder.
so?
I wonder who won in
No one
24.
will.
then they'll go look
That's
it up
what
and
is.
it'll be you.
Jim, I know you better than anybody in this room,
This
and I
is true.
swear to God, I didn't know that you had 5.
And I've been here the whole time.
Yeah, he's
I
been
voted
for
I've
all
been
of
here
them.
for all of them, and I didn't know you had them.
I also
fair.
didn't know that, but nobody's surprised by it.
1,000 points.
I will think about it.
Okay, all right.
I will
Okay.
continue to contemplate.
In the meantime, -2 for Jim.
Fuck.
Okay.
Is that the only question for this round?
Sure,
All right. You said there's 3.
there is.
Okay.
Yeah, but that
you were
one
gonna-
took 10
I don't know how you're
minutes.
dividing them.
it's-
Are you doing 2 this round? And then
No,
one
let's just do one round.
Okay,
One
okay,
round.
I got it.
Yeah.
Next question. Women, am I right? I'm so excited. Hey, y'all. I'm a 25-year-old female and currently pregnant.
Jim's answering
Is that
this
your
one.
25-year-old female voice?
Yeah.
Hey, y'all.
Little Marlboro,
Hey, y'all.
little Marlboro
I
in there.
said y'all.
Yeah. Also, I'm already pissed off about this question.
Well, you
Really
get to
thought I was
answer
gonna have
first,
some
Jim.
incel energy. And, fuck you, writer. I'm already upset. All right. Hey, y'all. I'm a 25-year-old female and am currently pregnant. I've heard lots of stories of pregnant women having intense emotions about situations that they later find laughable. For example, I've had several friends say they had a tearful meltdown because they had a specific craving that they couldn't get in the middle of the night. Or maybe their partner ate something that they were planning on eating. God, fucking, this is all truth. Okay, I'm going to tell you right
maybe
now.
Jim will be able to
Every
answer.
single word of this is true. I've had my occasional moments of tears.
Jim feels that all the time.
I'm still upset about. Don't even get me started. I have a list. I've had occasional moments of tears and
Enemies
anxieties, but I feel that they're genuine concerns. Yet other people don't seem to be taking them seriously. I'll try talking to my husband or to friends about things that I'm sad or worried about, and I feel like just because I'm pregnant, it's always met with, ha! Oh boy, hormones can be pretty crazy when you're pregnant.
Oh,
And I don't feel like
that's gotta
I
be
can
rough.
actually address my concerns. To give some examples, I've tried talking about my fears of loneliness during postpartum, concerns about being on the same page as my husband in parenting, and current family drama. Since people seem to respond by saying my feelings are just a product of crazy pregnancy hormones, now when I feel sad or anxious, I find myself essentially saying to myself, well, I'm probably just feeling this way because of hormones, so it's probably not a big deal. And then I just don't deal with whatever I'm feeling. My question would be, how can I tell if my feelings are valid or possibly just overreacting because of hormones? Does it matter? How do I address my emotions, whether my emotions are valid or even when I am maybe overreacting? Thanks, anonymous pregnant chick.
Anonymous, I think that is a great letter, and it has inspired me to tell a story.
There it is.
I'm excited to hear
do it.
this.
Years ago, I was working a show, and my assistant, somebody else in the company was pregnant at the time.
Which you had nothing to
I
do
had
with.
nothing to do with.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
But
I do pay a monthly sum
apparently
because I am generous.
apparently this
The judge disagreed.
apparently this pregnant woman and my assistant had a conversation that went a little sour.
Oh.
And I didn't know anything about this. I get a phone call on my cell phone. It says, "Hey, could you come back to the big boss's office?" I go, "Well, that's weird. Whatever we have to talk about." And like as I'm walking back there, because the only thing I ever talked to the big boss about was like, other events coming into our showroom that we might have to cooperate with,
Sure.
or so, like other kind of like
Macro things.
big project type things. And I get in there, and my assistant is there, and the my pregnant colleague was in there as well, and the big boss was there, and an HR person was there, and there was like a room full of people.
Oh.
I was like, and I walked in, and immediately, of course, I went, "I'm getting fired for some reason that I cannot think of.
I'm being canceled, and it's valid.
I don't know what has happened,
But you're right.
It looks like I'm coming up on the short end of the stick.
You are right. I'm sorry.
This looks like goodbye for your old pal Jacob."
I've prepared a speech for today.
Yep. And the big boss asks me to sit down, and apparently, then proceeds to tell me that apparently my assistant had had a disagreement with our colleague who was pregnant at the time, and said the only reason you think that is because you're pregnant and your
Yes.
hormones are going crazy.
There we
Oh
go.
my.
And I
There
looked
you
at my
go.
assistant and said, "Did you say that?" And he said, "Yes, but it's true."
Oh,
Get both feet out of your mouth, you idiot. What
they
are you
doubled
doing?
down.
They're all here.
And I was like, I guess I just have to sit down.
I'm just
Yeah.
not. Yeah. I would like
I've
to
changed
plead
my
the fifth.
mind. I'm sorry. I don't think it's because you're pregnant. I think it's because you're a silly woman.
It's because your
You're
brains are
hysterical.
smaller than ours.
At which point,
It's
I was like, "Can we
science.
go back to just maybe firing me?"
That would be better.
Yeah, if
would
you
that would
fire me,
find that preferable.
Do I have to stay for this meeting?
I could leave.
What is
now.
the severance? I would like to negotiate
Oh
What-
my
God.
resignation.
What agreement can we come to that allows me to leave this room in the next 10 seconds?
How did that meeting go? Did they
Oh,
resolve it?
Poorly.
You don't say.
You mean the person who could double down?
Yeah, went poorly. It turns out everybody's heels were dug in.
Oh,
Oh
Lord.
my gosh.
Oh, my goodness.
That is such a hard
I love it.
balance.
Yes.
Because this poor writer,
Those examples that she gave sound like legit concerns.
That's
Oh,
what
of
I was
course.
going to
I'm
start with.
worried.
It's like, I'm worried. Are we going to parent the same?
Sure.
That's a legit worry.
that's-
I'm scared about being lonely.
Yeah.
Like after I have this
Exactly.
baby, I've been carrying a human with me this whole time.
I'm
What's it
concerned
like to not have
of
that?
for potential postpartum depression.
Yes.
Yes.
All of these things sound like very valid concerns.
Silly hormonal woman. You don't get it.
Can we also address the point, too, that hypothetically, even if it is the cause of hormones, it's not any less real.
Yes,
Right.
that's
There
where
we
I was
go.
going to go. That's
There we
exactly
go.
where I was going to go. It's like, oh gosh.
That's the safest thing I feel like I can say on this one, so I'm just
Yeah.
going to set the
And it's
I
like,
think-
mic
You
drop,
nailed it.
done.
That's-
He's like, let me just
That was
get it
one
in there
over the
real
fence.
quick.
Yep.
Walk
Nick's
away.
going to be taking the rest of this one off.
Yep. He's taking the lap. There he goes, waving at the
Trotting
crowd.
bases.
Trotting the bases. No big deal. Everybody gets 2 free tacos
Gotta
with the
get
receipt.
out of here before I trip.
Attaboy. Well
Yeah.
done. He's
All in my
out.
face.
Yeah.
Back to the dugout. He's sitting down.
I know. I'm gonna say this carefully and let me talk it through because I know I'm about to get it. For
We're
this
going to
one.
pounce on you
I
if you're
know.
even slightly. There it is. Get it sexual.
I have to wait till the music's on.
About the hormones. Talk about the hormones, Whitney.
Because I was going to say it reminds me of toddlers.
Okay.
Toddlers have.
Way to wait for the
Yes,
music to stop.
That's why I was like, I'm not
Good
talking about
choice.
toddlers with sex music
Good
on.
choice.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, excellent. Excellent
trying.
foresight.
So with toddlers, like when we've learned through parenting,
Your father's dick has been in me.
There it is.
Ah,
Glad
there
he
it
has
is.
those queued up.
Okay.
Where's the baiter? Where's the baiter
I
drop?
almost said it.
Where's the baiter drop? You know what? I'm sick of this unequal treatment. This is ridiculous.
The baiter drop sounds like a ride at the worst county fair you've ever been to in your life.
Jacob tried. He's like, I'm gonna try it. Okay.
If I go to a county fair and I see they got the baiter drop, I am in line.
The baiter drop.
This Saturday, come on down to the Wyoming State Fair. We
Baby.
got the world famous baiter drop.
Baiter? I hardly know her.
Go on. You were saying about toddlers.
So with toddlers, what we've learned is that instead of just telling toddlers to stop doing the thing they're doing, stop having your tantrum or crying or worry or whatever, whining, it's let's meet them where they're at because their
Right.
feelings are real.
Yeah.
It seems maybe absurd to you as an adult
Sure.
that the toddler's having the feeling, but those are real feelings, like Nick was saying.
Yeah.
And so I'm definitely not calling you a toddler writer. I swear.
I think that's what I hear. I hear you calling all pregnant women everywhere toddlers. But go
No,
on.
the real point I was going to get at is that all of your concerns are valid. I think when there are a lot of hormones running through our bodies, we react differently at times.
Yeah.
So that is kind of like the balance. And I know you didn't really share how you're reacting when you're feeling a certain type of way, but having been around a friend who was pregnant all last year, there were moments where her reaction to things were just a little bit bigger
Sure.
and it would like cause other issues in other areas with her
Yeah.
kids or things like that. And that was a problem too because her teenagers would be like, well, you're pregnant, that's your hormones, and that doesn't really help when you're already
It's like
pissed
screaming
off
calm
Teenager.
down to an anxious
at
person.
your bratty kids.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah. Oh, you're so right. Thank you for telling me.
Oh, in that case, I'll
Yeah,
just go to my
never
room.
mind.
No.
Yeah.
So yes, that is very real, feeling that kind of resentment or animosity towards somebody for just discounting your feelings or discounting what you're going through, saying it's just hormones. Because they are real feelings. And when you ask, what do I do about that? I think, one, I would definitely sit down with your husband because you included him in there, at least with him at the very least, and just say, hey, this is what I'm hearing, and that's not helping me right now.
Right.
My feelings are real and valid. Maybe they don't seem that way to you, and fine. I'm not
Yeah.
going to argue I'm right or you're right, whatever.
Right.
But I need you to acknowledge that whatever I'm feeling is real and just let me sit with that.
Yeah.
Having
Or
you-
meet me in this
Mhm.
thought, right? Because I need you to respond, not discount that.
So yeah, I need you to not discount it. And that I think is a good start. And then for yourself, just, allowing yourself to, even if you're questioning, is this absurd? Maybe it is, but I'm just going to sit here and do it. I've done that. Like, I know I've had overreactions. I had one last week. And I was just like, I'm just going to sit here and be crazy.
Sometimes we do things that we know are ridiculous when we do them. And we're just still going to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, everyone's emotional reaction is ridiculous to somebody else.
Exactly.
Like there's every year around, coming up this time of year, when someone's NFL team doesn't make the playoffs.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be a ton of videos online of people throwing their TVs out windows and shit like that.
It's like, what a ridiculous.
Really?
It's like,
you've never seen this before?
Oh, my God.
People throwing hammers at the TV
This is
screens.
coming.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's almost always Cowboys fans. But
Well, yeah.
Well, they've been out for a while.
They should just
they know
accept
they're
that
dead.
at this
yeah, they
point.
know.
Yeah.
But no, that's absolutely true. That
You mean
contextually,
cow
there's
persons?
always something.
Cow persons.
Cow people.
People.
Cow people.
Sorry.
Cow people.
The cow peoples are losers, and they know they're losers. But no, that's
I don't care what y'all say.
point.
I really like cow people.
Yeah, good for them. We like all the cow peoples.
All the people.
Come to Vegas. Bring your money.
The Dallas Cow people is just really.
Oh, please do that. Well, how do we get a petition going?
That could be like the new. That could be the new PC term for their cheerleaders.
Look, obviously we don't give a shit, but I'll bet you we can get enough people to think we give a shit and take it on as a cause.
The Dallas Cow People's cheerleaders.
Yes, I want to see the Dallas Cow Peoples. Oh, and make it plural. I want that too.
Plural.
Just
All the cow peoples.
All the cow peoples.
All
Not
the
just
cow peoples of the world.
cow persons.
Of the herd.
Person.
Jerry Jones. We're tired of being denied. No, but like on this point, I think that there's a couple of different interesting sides of this. On one hand, there is something to be said for a temporary season of your life, which is significantly biologically impacted.
Yeah.
And I think it is fair to admit I am experiencing meaningful standard deviations from the norm. My norm is X, and I am experiencing deviations from that norm where I am more anxious or perhaps more sensitive to loneliness or to
Mine's
emotional
once a month.
stimuli. Yeah, sure. There you go. I wasn't going to say it. I thought
mean,
Nick
I will.
was going to, but he didn't come out of the dugout
He
and just
threw it
throw
at him
himself
and he
back
just
on the
let it
field. He
go.
just didn't do it. So, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like, there are...
Nick's at the
Very
team
notice-
restaurant by now.
It's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
noticeable to
He's
myself.
hanging out. But yeah, no, I agree.
He's already in the showers.
I'm still good. So like, yeah, no, from that perspective, I look at that and I think, yeah, there are these like predictable hormonal fluctuations, whether it's pregnancy, whether it's the menstrual cycle,
Whether food you eat, like it's all
foods
kinds
you're
of
eating,
things. Yeah.
times of year,
Times of
seasonal
year, yeah.
depression. So, and I want to acknowledge that two things can be true at the same time. On one hand, this is a significant deviation from my personal baseline, and people that are in my life who know my baseline are remarking that this is a deviation from that baseline.
Right.
And so they're quickly contextualizing that. That's causing them to be dismissive. They are probably not trying to be mean. Most people are not trying to be mean to a pregnant woman because it's a bad idea.
However, the ones that are hilarious.
Oh, when you're going out of
Is that
your
another
way
YouTube
to
video?
provoke it. That's always great. But yeah, I think that there's this sense of like, I just want to reassure you by telling you, hey, that thing you're scared of, I think that, 9 out of 10 other versions of you would not be scared of that. And that's what I'm trying to communicate.
Yeah.
So I think that can simultaneously be true with the second thing, which is the thing I think we're all in agreement on, which is that kind of regardless, whatever your current facing reality is, that is meaningful and that is your personal truth right now.
Yeah.
And so regardless if you look at it and think, gosh, I think that this is probably contextual to what I'm going through biologically right now in my life, fine. I'll bet you there's other kinds of anxiety that happen when you're engaged. And only happen when you're engaged. There's other kinds of anxiety that happen only when you have an infant, only whenever you're single, only whenever you're, a grandparent. Like,
there's a common term for one. There's hangry.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
There's a type of mood that sets in, whenever you're in a certain context or you're overtired or whatever. And like, I think there is a important discussional balance between giving that a lot of authority and making life choices based on it, which a therapist would probably pull you away from because we know this is a standard deviation.
Yes.
And we don't want that to be something that you make big choices on. If there's 10 of you, I don't want 9 of you living with the choice that one of you would make.
Yeah.
Right? I want to get to the average. And so we're going to slow you down on that. But at the same time, we know that that's not how you solve it. You don't solve it by discounting it. You solve it by meeting somebody in it and talking their way through it and saying, hey, give me more context on this, asking probing questions. So I think that we're all in agreement on that.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
I was going to just point out too really quick that I have had at least a couple clients in the past that would come to me while they're pregnant trying to be preemptive on dealing with like postpartum depression and things like that. So I heard you mention that some of your fears about loneliness and postpartum and maybe dealing with some of those emotions, not even to say, oh, you need to go see a therapist because you're overreacting now, but more like, hey, I just want to build rapport with somebody before I'm like in the thick
I've
of
had
it,
that happen.
right? Like,
I've had people do
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, preemptive therapy because they know that this could be weird later on, and they want me to know them now,
Right.
in month 6 or 7th of pregnancy,
Right,
when they feel
exactly.
more themselves, and then later on they're going to be in a whole different state of mind because they're just in
Absolutely.
case. That's absolutely a thing.
and we talk about some of those same things. Like one client in particular, we talked about how even though they maybe didn't deal with what we typically see as postpartum depression, so that was great. There were some overreactions that they recognized were out of character for them, like throwing something across the room, and they're like, nobody was hurt,
Outbursts.
but outbursts like that. And they're like, oh my gosh, that shocked me, and why did that happen? And so I think it's great if you decide, I mean, I know that's our classic thing, go see a therapist, but it's okay, I guess, to go see somebody preemptively to build rapport going into a time that is going to be.
Well, I'm glad you're
stressful.
normalizing that because I think for a lot of pregnant people, this is a thing where there's a stigma actually associated with this. And so it's like, well, if I go into therapy, I'm admitting something, right?
Right.
I'm admitting I'm just a crazy pregnant lady. Or if I see a therapist postpartum, something might be, they're going to take my baby away from me.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people are scared. They're like, oh no, if they find out I'm depressed or anxious or I'm having scary thoughts, they're going to take my baby away from me. They're going to think I'm a bad mother. Something's wrong with me. And I think this letter gives us an opportunity to normalize how incredible the hormonal and mental juxtaposition is in pregnancy. I've seen some new data that was just coming out. I wasn't even talking about hormones necessarily. It was talking about MRI longitudinal data that was showing the structural changes in a brain during pregnancy.
Oh my gosh.
How the human being structurally, like the neurological architecture, was being transformed throughout pregnancy and changing in real long-term ways.
Wow.
And they're still trying to understand what the fuck any of that means and what that indicates, but they can see it, which is wild. Like you
It's
can
amazing
see it in
the power
fMRI.
that babies have. It's a good thing they can't communicate and coordinate with each other.
No. They
Also, a good
rise
thing they
up.
can't vote.
Yeah.
We don't want those babies voting.
No,
I thought you were
the
talking
baby.
about women.
Yeah. He comes off the
Shit!
stairs. There
I
it
was
is.
safe. I was safe in the dugout,
Comes
and then
back
I got out.
takes another wave at the audience, and they're booing him. Oh, I should have stayed down. He had it all.
I messed
Threw
it
it
up.
away.
That's all right. We'll fix that in post.
Pete rosed everywhere. It's a shame. You hate to see it happen, folks.
Gambled on pregnant women.
But no, I do appreciate that there is so much information. And that's always tricky, right? Because like on one hand, I want to respect the psychological, biological, biochemical enormity of this transformation. I don't want to minimize it. I also feel it's dangerous to use that as a catch-all
Yeah.
to explain everything.
Yeah.
Because then we're not dealing with the realities. You're still a conscious thinking, rational being that works and drives and thinks and has to make choices. And the interpersonal and mental realities you're facing need to be dealt with in a nuanced way.
Yeah.
That deals with it, not just tells you, well, you're pregnant, so get over it. Like,
Because
that's
we
not
are
a thing.
disappointed when someone like eats the last bite of food or something. You're like, those are
Yeah.
things we are upset
It's a
about in
real
general
thing.
life.
Yeah.
Jim, yeah.
I still have
That
issues.
really hit Jim's nerve. I can see it in his
Yeah,
eyes.
Jim's got stories. I kind of want to hear.
Guys, the ones that get away.
Okay, no, really quick. Here's my thing that Peter pisses me off, and he knows that he does this, so I don't
Finally.
care sharing it.
We're
Yeah,
already like-
I know. We get along
Dirt on
everywhere except
Peter.
this.
Yeah.
No, he does this thing.
Perfect fucking relationship. Finally has a chink in the armor.
You're gonna die when I tell you.
He makes
So-
Swedish meatballs every day.
I know that asshole.
3 times a day.
I know.
He's
You ever had
always
Swedish
making
meatballs
them.
at 7 a.m.? I have today. It's horrible.
It is about food, so that's hilarious. No, he does this thing where if he gets like ice cream,
Okay.
he's the type he'll go in and just take like one bite of ice cream, and he's like, "That was my sweet treat," and puts it away like a psycho.
no.
Yes, like a psychopath.
Spoon in the
I don't.
container.
Yeah, I don't care about that because
Okay.
it's just the two of us.
Yeah,
so like,
but no.
Yeah.
I feel like Nick knows
He
where
doesn't
this
need
is
to
going.
make a
I
bowl.
do, because
He
takes
doesn't need to
one
make. He'll
bite.
just go take 1 or 2 bites and put it back in the freezer.
Laura does this
What?
too.
I do this.
Yeah.
And then you're done?
Well,
I could also go take like one chip out of the bowl
No.
and eat it
Who
and just,
are
and
you?
just enjoy that.
Psychopath. Get
Yes.
out.
Yeah, no, you're a robot.
You're not a
like,
binge
that's
eater
not a
like
real
me.
person.
So
Whoa.
here's,
I like that this is your trigger.
No,
Oh,
here's
no.
Out of
I-
all
no.
the things about me, this is your fucking trigger.
Yeah.
Whitney's on the right side of the issue.
I-
You're a fucking monster. All right?
Jim and I
Something
are-
wrong with you.
So here's where it gets me. I don't mind that. I think he's psycho for it, but I don't mind it. It's when we get to the ice cream being low, and I'm like, oh, there's
Oh.
ice cream in the freezer, and I
Here it
open it
is.
up, and there's one bite in there.
Fuck yeah.
And I just fucking close that
He's
thing.
saving that bite.
And I'm like, what is this?
She
Like, I
fills out
literally
one
the
more
other
line
day,
on the divorce paperwork.
I
That's
was like,
it.
what is this? Peter's like, that's a bite for me. Like, I'm
No.
like, all I wanted was ice cream, and now there's only
Fuck
one bite
you.
in there. I'm not
Whitney
even
has
eating
dialed
that.
911 and her finger is hovering over the call button.
You reach for the container,
Yes.
and then you do that terribly painful quick lift.
'Cause,
That you
yep.
just grab it
Wow.
and
Too
it
late.
just comes
Jim's
right out
really
of the shelf.
honing in on all
Oh,
of
I'm
the
with you,
process.
girl. I have felt this pain. Oh, it pisses me off.
Oh, no, we've got every year we've got Hershey's Kisses Christmas, the red and
Oh,
green
the
ones.
good ones.
Oh, yeah.
That we put in a jar.
Yeah.
And every year she's like, "You're not going to eat all of them, are you? You're not going to eat all of them, are you?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, somebody's going to eat these."
They're there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat one every time.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. And
They're
she's
for
like,
eating.
She's like, "You can't eat them all. You got to save them for me."
Nope.
I was like, "Then you got to step up. Like, get in here."
Yeah, you don't get to call
Like,
fucking
yeah.
budget. Like, that's not
You
how
get
this
your own
works.
bowl of
Yeah.
They are
candies.
here. You have equal availability.
yeah.
That is your fucking problem.
That's not how the animal kingdom works.
You're
Okay,
right.
yeah, that's
You're
right.
on the right side of this.
Now, Nick, you can be happy or you can be right, Nick.
Yeah, fuck
that's-
it. Be right.
why do you-
Die on this hill?
Why do you think?
He's happy because he ate all
Why
the
do you
chocolate.
think I'm talking about it on a podcast and not at home?
No, die on this hill,
Yeah.
man. You're right. That
Wow,
shit's dumb.
Jacob, the
That
self-control.
shit is dumb. Let me tell you about pain.
Now, I
I
can
love
also.
that all the clinicians are
Yeah,
like,
no, we're all fucking fed up with this shit.
we're like,
This
eat
is
all
where
the
we're all
chocolate.
fucking done.
Jacob's like, I will have
Take
one.
our goddamn ice cream. Take our chocolate.
I will occasionally sit down and just eat the whole fucking carton too.
All right.
Ah.
Well,
But I
Peter will do
can
that
be really,
too. Yeah.
I can be just really happy with a bite.
There is a point of no return. There is a point where you look in the carton and there's a percentage of the carton left. You're responsible to finish it.
Yes.
50%?
Finish it, throw it away, and replace it.
Is it?
Do not leave.
Is it when it's full, Jim?
Well, look, if you've opened the carton, you finish it,
Yeah.
and you replace it,
Yeah.
or you give it to me. Okay, this shit's very clear. No, but
so
that shit
true.
is annoying as hell. But let me tell you about something else that's next level annoying about this shit. Having fucking kids. So
you
I
can't
have
eat
two
anything in
children.
front of
They can
them.
reach everything in the fridge.
Yeah.
Right.
They're very aware. And man, when you come home with some leftovers and you're like, oh, these are for me. I'm going to come back to these. And then a kid comes home from school.
Jim's fucking magic markering his leftovers in the fridge.
I wish I had a second fridge to hide shit.
You can.
I wish
You're an
You're a
adult.
grown-up.
You're an adult.
with,
I
with
need
a
to.
credit card.
You have money.
This
you
is
have
where I
the
need to
best of
spend
Las
some money.
Vegas money.
You're right. I got that best of Las Vegas
Yeah.
money. I should be cashing in.
I wonder if you
fucking
can like
fridge.
cash in your spirit points to spend at Home Depot or something.
So
They're
I
worthless.
have a quick pregnancy story. One of the
Okay.
saddest moments I ever saw in my wife. This was our first pregnancy
How
very
dare
long
you?
time
I'm
ago.
just gonna start.
Just preemptively.
Oh my God. She had seen a commercial for a maple honey blondie, the dessert at Applebee's.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
like it's like a vanilla honey
It's a cookie?
brownie
A
thing.
brownie,
Cookie
yeah,
brownie
yeah,
thing
Yeah.
with like ice cream or something.
Great.
on
Okay,
it.
sounds yummy.
And she had texted
I bet it looks
me-
terrible in the commercial
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, or she had texted me and said, "Hey, come pick me up. I need to go to Applebee's. I need this honey blondie thing." And so I was like, "All right, whatever." And so like come home from work, pick her up. We go to Applebee's. We are there for this. Like we're not here also for dinner. Like she's
You're not also
getting
gonna have some
that.
riblets.
Yeah, like but I hate dessert. I have no interest in dessert whatsoever. So for me, I'm there to get my dinner on. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get a burger or whatever. And so like they're like, what do you guys want? And I'm like, okay, I'm telling them my whole order and like, great, yeah, absolutely, we'll get it just right. I'm like, great. And then she's like, I just want the honey maple fucking blondie with a big old dollop of ice cream. And she's telling her all about it. And the lady's sitting there listening to her. And she's like, and she's giving her all the things. She's like, and I want this and a little side of this. And no.
I want nuts on the side.
Yeah, I want a side of ice cold milk. Like she's just like the Santa Claus.
She's about to be
man.
in
She's
heaven.
like ready
If
to
you could
fucking
bring
go.
me a cup of caramel to go, that'd be great.
That'd be great. I want it all inside. This bitch sat there and listened to my wife. And
I'm
then
afraid I know where it's
waited and waited.
Her
and
tip
my
was
wife
flying out the door.
finishes, and she's
No.
drooling on the table, right? She's like finishing this with drool falling out of her mouth. She can't get the words out. Lady looks at her and goes, "We're all out."
Yes!
Oh.
My wife wept.
I bet.
Go to the next Applebee's.
Wept.
I would.
Grieved as if someone had died.
Yeah.
Like, and this poor lady, this waitress did not see that shit coming. And so she's like, oh no. Like, this moment we realize this person is weeping so hard.
Yeah.
That you clearly do not understand what is happening.
There is something
Like,
going on
your
here.
father died. Like, today is the day
Yeah.
you were reliving an
Yeah.
anniversary. Like, something big is
A
going on.
cookie blondie killed your father.
It was
I knew it.
I was going to eat one in
Thing.
revenge.
This waitress is like falling all over. It's like, I am so sorry, honey. Like, what can I get you?
Oh,
She's
no.
like, there's nothing else I want. And she's like, I will get you anything. I will drive to the fucking store. And like this, oh my God.
I
it was
will go
so
to the other
funny.
Applebee's.
I will go to another Applebee's. I will bring you this.
You didn't stay, did
Oh
you?
God, no! I left her there. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I got
that-
the fuck
that
out of
checks
there.
out.
I was
Yeah.
humiliated, because I get a burger anywhere.
Because
you know?
This is a story
women, am I
about Jim's
right?
first wife.
Yeah, this is my first fight. That was also
The last time he saw her was at this
That was
Applebee's.
at that Applebee's.
You got out of there because you have a reputation. to
Yeah,
protect.
I'm humiliated. You know, here I am coloring. I finished the maze in one try on this
Multiple
menu.
time Best of Las Vegas award winner.
Yeah. You can't be seen.
You know,
with
I'm like,
with
can
a
we get to the
crying
part where I
wife?
show this lady that I like solved the crossword? You know, like instantly. I'm so fucking good. Yeah. So but that's a real ass thing. So yeah. The second pregnancy, we did this once more, and she did this again. And it was on St. Patrick's Day.
I thought you were going to say second wife.
Second wife. Second pregnancy, second wife. You know, why not? I tried just one and done. I just get one in there and then I'm out.
I accidentally released that information about Jim.
Yeah. That was how the world finds out that I've been married several times for every kid. It was St. Patrick's Day. We went to a village pub because they do corned beef and
Village
cabbage.
Pub, yeah.
And she was so pumped. And it was like looking forward to this all week long, like
Corned beef
planning
and
this
cabbage
out.
is so good.
Dude, it's garbage.
Oh, it's so good.
Don't
It's
say
so
that.
good.
It's so
I'm gonna
Beef
go
and
there.
Cabbage?
It's trash. We do this every year.
I know.
Every St. Patrick's Day.
Every St. Patrick's Day.
We go over this again.
You are a fan,
It's
right?
garbage.
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
There's
Oh my
nothing
God.
redeeming
It's
about
my
this.
favorite food.
Anyway, they didn't have it and she cried. But no, it's dumb. All right, it's a stupid
We'll rehash
food.
that some March.
Yeah.
Rehash it. Dumb. Anyway, writer, I don't know what to tell you. Stop being
Your feelings
so
are valid.
hormonal. I think that's where
The
I was
end.
going with this. Yeah, divorce and find somebody else.
That's a
All
good
right,
point.
we're gonna take a quick
You
break.
could be Jim's eighth wife.
Yeah,
Eighth
come
wife.
on. 8 times the charm. I'm
Now
the
accepting applications.
Henry the Eighth of pod therapy. Just moving on through. All right, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're talking about loneliness. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Smitty, Scoop, Mason, Miller, Tess Miller, Byler, T, Paris, Team Monaco, Oscar, Swanrose, Hannah Marie, Emma Kane, Myra. And if you would like to sponsor the show, become a therapy producer at patreon.com/therapy. All right, Whitney, you're up.
All right.
What animal practices...
Beta. No, I'm just kidding.
Final answer?
No.
Okay.
It's
All beta
know.
fish.
What animal practices mindful eating by meticulously washing their food before consumption, possibly indicating a preference for cleanliness or ritual?
I know it.
Buzz.
Okay.
Y'all both
I
know
also would
this?
like to secondarily buzz if she fucks it up.
Well, you're next after me.
Well, I was
sucko.
going to
That's why I
get
said secondarily,
options.
second-
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Options are
Bet and clean up.
otters, raccoons, pandas, or I'm not sure how to pronounce this, capuchin monkeys.
Oh, capuchin monkeys.
Beta fish.
Capuchin?
Cappuccino monkeys.
That's it. Yeah, let's stay there. Yeah, that's correct.
So the things y'all thought of are in those options?
The thing I thought of was,
Yep. Oh, we know it. And you're silly for not
I can't
knowing
speak for Jim.
it. You don't know
The
it because of
options
your
were
female
panda,
brain.
raccoon.
Because she's on the rag.
Walk through this for a second.
Raccoons is what it was.
Raccoons eat trash. Remember?
Yeah,
such
so
an
they're
idiot.
gonna clean it before they. I was gonna get squirrel originally before options.
Squirrels are pretty clean.
Well,
They
that's
are
what I thought.
pretty
They like clean the little acorns or
They're
whatever.
pretty clean.
So sorry,
We
you
had pet
said.
squirrels growing up. They were great.
All right,
Pet
you had
squirrels.
raccoons. You had
Louisiana.
Otters.
capuchin.
Yep.
Otters because they're in the water.
Otters because they're in the water.
Yeah, that's
Final
my
answer?
guess. Yeah.
No.
Damn it.
Raccoons.
God
It
damn
is
it!
raccoon.
Fuck!
Nick is talking me out of all of my
did.
guesses.
He gave you
I
a
did.
final option. He is
I just wanted to make sure you were thinking it through.
Let me know when you have your next presentation to do. Okay?
Yeah, get him. Oh, yeah, we need to know. Can we be on the email? Can we get the listserv on this?
Yeah.
We should both show up. I need 2 random volunteers for the next role play.
I feel like you can get
I'll
what's her
take-
name to get you the information.
Amanda
for it.
will tell
I
us.
will. I'll gladly take 2 of you. I'll take 4 of you over 1 of Jacob.
Famous last. Oh,
That's
Jacob
true.
shows up. Same reason I didn't invite him to the role play at my class.
Man,
Yeah.
Nick's like Jedi mind tricking me today.
I know. I was like,
it.
I don't even have to like get Whitney off of the right answer. Nick's doing it all for me.
All right, go on. Next
All right.
question.
Yeah, there are like heartbreaking
we'll take that.
videos out there of like
Through the
people
third
handing
one.
raccoons a piece of cotton
Save
candy,
it?
No,
and then
just
they'll
do it.
take the cotton candy and dunk it in some water
Yeah,
to clean
it's
it.
hilarious.
And it just it goes away.
And to
then they're
watch
looking at their little hands like, oh no.
the fear and terror
Yeah.
on their faces,
I-
where there's like, what
Confusion.
has happened?
Okay, I'm probably gonna get judgment for this too, but I watched
Probably.
this little video. I showed Peter yesterday, and it's like when you find something, when you find something at Home Depot that you want but you can't buy, and it turns the corner, and in this cart is a raccoon.
Oh,
And it's just staring at you with their little
sitting
eyebrows
there.
that do
Yeah.
the like, oh look at me, I'm so cute
Buy
and sad.
me.
And I said, why am I okay with this but not okay with dogs and Home Depot? Like the raccoon, the trash panda's okay,
Yeah.
but dogs, what?
yeah.
Maybe not Home Depot,
The
but the
dogs
grocery
are a little
store.
excessive. But if you have a raccoon, I'm just more curious.
I'm like, give me that
I'm not
raccoon.
upset. I don't
We
know
had
what's
like
going on.
we had like a half tame raccoon. We had pet squirrels inside, and then we had like a half tame raccoon
Inside.
that because my mom would put cat food out because she had a few like outside
I
cats.
think we have the same mom.
And then the raccoon would come hang out as well. And he just got to be so fat. It was the same raccoon.
Oh, yes.
And he was just like he'd waddle
yeah,
around
beer
in the
belly
backyard.
raccoon is the best.
And
I
their
would
little
literally
paws are
like
so
I could
tiny.
sit in the backyard. Like he wouldn't let me pet him or anything. But I would sit in the backyard and he was happy to like also sit in the
Oh,
backyard.
that's
Aw.
great.
Like he's just like, yeah, you're around, that's fine.
It just reminds me of that scene in The Simpsons where there's that way overfed monkey, and it's like you pray for Bobo because he's so fat. And
Was he
he's
a capuchin?
dying, and he can do sign language.
He washed all of his food before eating
He's
it.
like, pray for Bobo.
All right, Jacob. Which birds have been known to engage in complex dance routines to attract
Oh,
mates
damn it.
All of them?
and can become visibly stressed if their performance doesn't impress?
Oh, good luck, dude.
I know this one. It is the band The Birds.
oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
for 2 points.
Y'all are playing checkers and I'm playing chess,
yeah, he's
motherfuckers.
way up there,
Turn,
man.
turn.
Sherlock.
I would like options, please.
Okay.
Good choice.
Peacocks,
Uh-huh.
birds of paradise,
Okay.
flamingos,
Uh-huh.
penguins.
I am gonna say I feel like peacocks. They shouldn't even be on this list because they're not a bird at all. I think they're a red herring.
They're a raptor.
Ah,
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah, my joke was better.
Yeah. Also,
Also,
girl-
it was a joke.
You know, peacocks are just the
That
boy
was.
ones. The
Yeah,
girl
then
ones
you
are
have
called
peahens.
pea pussies. Oh, sorry. Yeah, you might have.
Pecans.
Yeah,
What happened to this podcast?
I don't know. Jim's going off the rails a little bit
I
today.
don't care
I know.
anymore.
I can't wait until the next conversation. All right,
Eighth
guys, we gotta
season.
clean it up.
Yeah.
We gotta clean it up.
I don't care.
Right.
Hit something hard and walk away from the shit.
No, we have a flock of peacocks around our house, and the peahens like come around the house all the time.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. We had one for a while during COVID who would come honk at the door very early in the morning until SJ would go outside and give her some Cheerios and
So I
water.
have the ducks and you have the peacocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't keep them in our backyard, though. Like when they come in the
I don't keep
backyard, I
mine
chase them
either.
out.
I throw mine out into the pond.
Yeah. I bet
here
it's
now.
penguins.
Okay, final answer?
Yeah.
No.
Can it come to me? Can I have it?
Yeah.
It does come to you.
Give me Birds of Paradise for all the chips.
It is Birds of Paradise.
Yes, it
Nice.
is, because I watch me some David Attenborough shit.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he
yeah.
explains
David
it, and they're all
Attenborough.
dancing out there and
Alright.
shit and opening up their
The
feathers.
fact that they get offended
Yeah.
when the potential mate turns them down.
Fuck yeah.
That's why I thought penguins.
How
get it.
dare
Because
you?
like penguins look like an animal that can be particularly offended.
I think you're
Absolutely,
right. They're the
absolutely.
Eeyore of birds.
Yeah.
Penguins do the pebbles thing, don't
Yeah,
they?
yeah.
Yeah, they do the pebble thing.
They get you a rock.
And they mate for life. These are all reasons that I picked
Did y'all
penguins.
watch March of the Penguins
Oh,
back in
loved
the
it.
day?
sure.
Loved
Yeah.
it. Did you ever see the spoof where Bob Saget is the voice?
No.
It's pretty fucking great. It's all the outtakes from the actual footage of March of the Penguins, and they cut together a whole new movie, and they just tell a whole different story, and Bob Saget is the voice of the Penguins.
I
It's
did
great.
recently see a clip. It was like an AI fake, but it had Dave Attenborough's voice narrating, and it was like the Tesla truck.
Oh.
And it's like, here you see the Tesla truck has formed a symbiotic relationship with the tow truck.
I saw that. I sent that video to every person I know that owns a Cybertruck. I was like,
that
here's the
Jacob
funniest
knows
video
multiple-
ever.
Jacob knows multiple people that own Cybertrucks.
Three.
Oh, wow. Three multiples.
I know three, a multiple of three.
Cyber homies. All right. So I think I'm winning. That feels right.
Nope, you and I both have one.
That doesn't sound right.
I mean, you could have 1,000.
That's right. You know, the jury's
Very
still
easily.
out. Let's see how bad I want to win it. Loneliness from Anonymous. Hi, I'm struggling with being lonely. I'm 31 years old. I've been broken up from my father's son.
I think son's father is what that might.
Oh, yeah.
They just-
Thank you.
That makes more
Messed
sense.
up.
There it is. I've been
I was
broken
like,
up
oh.
from my son's father for almost a year now. Our son is 3 and special needs, suspected autism, and he's nonverbal-ish. He's just one word right now. And I'm his primary caregiver. His dad gets him once a week. I moved a city away from my friends and family to be with my ex when we were dating, and I stay here now because my son's pre-K school is here and his babysitter and his dad. I have 3 close friends I've had most of my life, but they all struggle with mental or physical health issues and aren't able to talk or hang out a lot. I feel bad bothering them with my problems because I know they have so much going on, and half the time when I go to talk to them, they aren't available, which I totally understand. I have a therapist I see, and she's wonderful, and she's not a friend, of course. I've tried to make new friends, but I haven't been successful. I'm not interested in dating. I lean on my work mom and work dad a lot, but sometimes I feel bad if I overshare. I have a pretty tight schedule, so it's hard to make time. And while I do see my family some, I find myself very lonely. I find myself wondering what people I watch or listen to would think about my problems or my day. Like y'all, I guess. I reminisce a lot about my past and have imagined conversations with people I used to know in my head. I don't really see an end in sight to my loneliness. I'm trying to just work on myself right now and try and be the best mom I can, and I try to remember those positive changes in my life as I see my son improve, as I lose weight or eat healthier, etc. I just can't escape this feeling of being alone. I feel sad and isolated, and like I'm really just talking to myself a lot of the time. Do y'all have any advice? Thanks for having a wonderful podcast. You truly do make a difference. Sincerely, Anonymous. Pronouns are she and her, and P.S. if possible, save this for when Whitney's going to be on. I really
I'm
like
here.
her advice. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's show.
Thank you, Anonymous.
We're
But
gonna
they're
have to
cutting me
end
off.
it there. Kill her, Mike. How dare you upstage us? That was not the agreement. Read your NDA.
I mean, that does say a lot about like how many times people have written into the show and are like, "Oh, Whitney would be great to listen."
And then
or
we
to-"
intentionally
and then
read
she's
it on
just
day she's not here.
I know.
It's great.
Sometimes when I
It
listen
happens.
when I'm not here, I'm like, oh, I
Really?
really have an answer for that one. I'm like, too bad.
So anyway, Nick, what do you think about this? This is
Well,
good
thank
one.
you, writer, for asking.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, my first thought was like, "Hey, we've got a Discord
I was going to
community."
say that
I
too.
know, right?
Oh,
you have
too
really good
bad.
advice.
Too bad.
Ah.
Who gives a
Whitney.
shit what you think, Whitney?
Anonymous does. All the Anonymouses do. Everyone who's ever.
Nobody who's willing to put their name on it.
Yeah.
Shit.
If they really cared, they'd put their name on it.
Thought we were friends.
No, my first thought was like, I mean, that's kind of the low-hanging fruit right there. We've got, I mean, not to say that our audience is low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, what the hell, Nick?
No, the Discord community is, it's really kind of fun to be a part of. I mean, I'm not a part of it, but I've heard that it's really, really fun to be a part of it. I mean, yeah, there's a lot
really
of
are
conversation.
cute, though. They do a Secret Santa every
Yeah.
year. They're doing it right now. They do holiday gift cards, or they all send them to each other. At one point, they had a flat Stanley going of you and me. It was flat Nick and Jim. They were sending all over the world.
Oh my God, that's cute.
But it speaks to this idea of like the value, I think, in reality of cyber communities. That there really are these internet versions of friendships that fit in where you're at in life, and I think understand.
Which is kind of cool if you're a single mom with a special needs child and you don't, have anybody close by. Like, that it's friends really at your convenience.
That's true.
Like you got 5 minutes, you can kind of log in. I mean, like it's a great way to be a part of a community.
And you can also give us money, which feels really good too.
I was going to say as long as it fits in with your budget.
You're underselling.
But
it's $1. You'll be all right.
Yeah, no inflation.
Never misses an opportunity.
Be a businessman.
Businessman Jim, best of Las Vegas.
So anyway, what I was thinking.
Go on, Jim.
I've just been waiting. I've been waiting for her to get started. Just like
anytime I inhale, Jim's like,
There's one more thought. Just one more idea.
Vomits out some more words.
Just real quick. Go ahead.
I
Whitney.
know.
What do you think?
No, I really was. I kind of jokingly, but not really gonna mention the Discord group, but also because I think, you're still pretty young, 31. Like in our people in our 30s and older, I think we discount online communities a lot more.
Sure.
Like,
Sure, yeah.
I honestly didn't even know anything about Discord before this podcast. I mean, I'd heard of it, but I was like logging in, all that was very overwhelming. I was like, I don't know how to navigate this. I'm old. So I think just dipping your toe into those waters, and our Discord is a great place to do that because everyone is so ridiculously friendly, and there's so many different what are those called? Like categories?
Channels. Yeah,
I'm like categories? I
Yeah,
don't know.
like rooms, channels.
Yeah, rooms, I guess.
So we have like silly ones. We have one called Pod Therapy.
Yes, where you share your animals.
Yeah, people share photos of our animals.
I forgot I was going to put
that one's a lot of fun.
Yeah, share your animals on
We
there.
have one
Nick.
called Into the Void where people just vent and nobody responds. We read it, but nobody will reply to you. We have another one called Off My Chest where you are welcoming people to give you feedback. We have tons of like different areas, and we have it's interesting because like again, just to validate this idea of online communities, especially whenever you have special needs.
We
children.
have one called Fantasy Football that is just Jim posting.
It's just me. It's just me. It is all me.
Yeah.
Just talking shit into the ether. I think the moderators have like cut this group off from the rest. I think only I can see it. And it's just me talking shit at people. Be like, I'm winning. Like nobody sees it.
Just Jim.
Checks out.
Yeah, that adds up. They're very smart moderators on this. The Discord moderator group does not get enough credit for the long suffering they have done.
Yeah.
Because they mostly exist to moderate me.
Yeah,
like they do
yeah.
not moderate other people.
Yeah.
They've never had to do anything to anybody. But there's like this caging Jim in like shit
They
that
do
they'll
an amazing job.
It's really they do not get enough credit.
I think for the long distance, I see you, Jim, trying to cut me off.
Yeah,
I'm
just go
kidding.
on. Just
I'm
go
kidding. For the long distance friends, I know we've touched on that as well in the past, like quite a bit. But what the number one thing I hear, because as a therapist, I tend to show up for my friends, but feel bad putting stuff onto them.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, well, I'm good at that, and it's fine. Like, tell me all your things, and I don't have to tell you anything because you're going through a lot now that I know, and I don't want to burden you with my stuff. But the number one piece of feedback that I tend to get is that I want to be your friend too. Like, you can share those things with me, and that can be good or bad. It doesn't have to be all the stressors. Like, if something good happens in your life, you can share that too. But not saying you have to dump all your stuff on your friends, but I just want to like give you permission to share some things that you're going through with your friends if y'all have time, because you did say they may not have a lot of time. But I just kind of want to let you know it's okay to share those things, and try not to feel bad about that, because that's what friendships are. Like, it's a back and forth. So
Well, I love that. And, another point on this, too, speaking of online communities, Autism Speaks is a really important online community, especially for parents that have a special needs child, because it is so unique. It is
There's
such
tons
a
of groups
special
on
burden.
Facebook for that. I've had clients with children who are
That are
special
more
needs
localized.
and for like your local community that you can get plugged
Right.
in at. And sometimes that can feel overwhelming, but sometimes you can pick out one or two people who kind of maybe are in a similar position as you are, so you can connect with them really easily.
Well, and another thing too, when somebody has special needs children, I think a lot of times there's always a difficulty in understanding what their resources are, and like it's always difficult because I don't ever know state to state. I don't know what your resources are going to be. Yeah. But a lot of times here in Nevada, folks immediately qualify for quite a bit. And one of them is ABA therapy. And a lot of times that involves having in-home workers who come and they offer you respite. And they are highly trained. They know how to deal with the kid. They develop a relationship. They start working on skill development and milestones. And then sometimes that gives you that break to say, okay, like I'm going to take a night for myself and my child's in good hands. They're with somebody that knows how to manage this.
Or I can FaceTime a friend or call a friend.
Or just get out of this bubble for a little while and get my mental health a little bit sorted. But yeah, I mean, attaching to those resources like Autism Speaks and ABA therapy and just making sure you're aware, I think that goes a long way. But some of this loneliness you're talking about, where it's like I find myself imagining what it would be like to just talk to people that I used to know, or even podcast hosts. That latter part I found really endearing. Like reading that in the letter, it made me think of how many times in my life, because there's this meme that we've probably all seen. It's the kid sitting next to the ice cream poster. And he's sitting there eating his ice cream laughing, and he's sitting next to a poster of 3 women also enjoying their ice cream, but it's clearly a poster, and he's like laughing. It looks like he's with them, but he's clearly not. And it says what it looks like to listen to a podcast, like you feel like you're part of it, but then you're not in the room with them. And I think to myself, how unique podcasts are in the world of all media, right? Like just how that is. All the podcasts I listen to that I've like really dialed into long term, I have felt exactly what that writer's thinking. Like, I'll be in the middle of my day not listening to that show at all, and something interesting happens or something relevant, and I'll think to myself, oh my God, Hank would get such a kick out of this. Like, this is exactly the kind of shit he would. And like, I almost wish I had him in my phone. Like, I almost find myself almost instinctively reaching for my phone to like tweet him. Like Hank Green's going to be like, oh, thanks, Jim. Good one. Like great point, Jim. Like obviously it's just not going to happen. But like that I just want to normalize your human experience, writer, that in this letter you're saying, hey, even to you folks that do this podcast, I find myself sometimes imagining talking to you. And I think that A, that's very relatable. And B, I actually think that's a really interesting mental health technique. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's simulating dialogue in a way that is kind of like journaling. It's journaling with a receiver in mind and being able to wear that person in your mind as that theory of the second mind that allows you to kind of like probe your thoughts and explore your thoughts as if you were presenting them to a person who you do know, and you can imagine how they would receive it and what they would say in response. I think that's really healthy.
No, I mean, and C, if you were to actually meet us in person, based off of the people who have met us, they're always disappointed.
Always. Yeah. That's the good news, that we never overwhelm
Keep the
you.
fantasy alive.
Yeah. You know what? Never meet your heroes. Or
Nick
your
is not
podcaster.
the tender lover you think he is.
No,
I was
selfish.
going to say you'll definitely get in contact with Jim on the fantasy football.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no. It's funny. I think that's the one
If you'd
joke.
like to interact directly with Jim.
Yeah. No.
Just in that room all the time.
That is the one piece of feedback we have gotten over the years on Discord, and people on Discord will vouch for this. It's that when you join Discord, the thing that people are always stunned about is how quickly I talk to you directly. I'm like, hi. They're like, what the fuck?
Oh, good. I was like, Jim's sets a
I didn't think we were
precedent.
allowed to talk to you guys. I thought you guys were like off in the distance. And I'm like, nope, I live here. This is all I do with my life. I have no other friends.
Jim, I get all notifications
Yeah,
of everything.
I know that you're here. I know that you posted anything anywhere, and I'm really excited to say something. And I have a GIF, and like people are so annoyed. They realize, oh shit, I didn't realize I was signing up to be Jim's friend. Like you think it's a good idea.
He
and then
doesn't have
you're
your phone
oh.
number.
That's right. Once I have your phone number, it's all downhill.
Yeah, if you're worried about joining the Discord because you're afraid that you would be perceived as a stalker, let me clear that
Don't
right out.
you worry about it.
Yeah.
Jim's
You'll be
already
fine.
stalking.
I will bother you. Yeah. You'll be like, oh, I kind of thought you'd, it'd be cool if I met you, but now I'm kind of like dodging your calls and like trying to find out if you'll leave me alone. It's a very relatable thing anyway.
Yeah.
But, I think that that's part of the beauty. And, we use these words like parasocial relationship to sort of describe this unique, dynamic of these things. But, the writer talks about like having like the work mom, the work dad, like people, in their life that they bond to and connect
Yeah.
with. And I think that's how we all are,
That's
right?
so real.
Yeah,
the
we
work
can-
mom and work dad.
we
Like
can-
you just
create these
connect with people at work.
constellations.
Yeah.
Yes, and there's nothing unhealthy about any of that. But
Well,
I
and
understand
you think,
that idea.
Yeah, you form those bonds with people you work with, and then you're surprised when they let you down because you feel like you've kind of developed this trust,
Right.
that you can work together, and then all of a sudden they completely destroy your exercise that you're doing in
Yeah.
front of a large group of people.
False sense of trust.
There it is.
Yeah.
There
False
it
sense of
is.
trust.
False.
All about
Yeah.
treatment planning.
There it is. It's an intervention, Whitney. Didn't you know?
The way your voice.
I know.
Didn't
You
you
can make it
know?
dirty. You can always make it dirty. So, what advice do we have? Let's offer some general advice for
So, okay,
loneliness. How to break through that.
one thing, and I this may or may not apply, Ryder, but I do know that some people, we kind of touched on it just for a second a moment ago, about how you kind of feel like you don't want to be a bother to people, or you feel like you don't want to burden them,
Yeah.
right? For the most part, I feel like that's for most people that's kind of overblown.
Yeah.
You're never as much as a burden as you perceived yourself to be.
Mm-hmm.
So just taking that extra step and actually, scheduling time, asking them, calling them, saying you want to hang out, schedule to go do some stuff.
Right.
And I don't think it's going to be, I would put that fear off to the side if that's anything that's kind of in the way. You had said that you moved a city away, which immediately in my brain, it's weird living in Las
Yes,
Vegas.
I knew you were going to say this.
Yeah,
Because
it's
a
so
next
different.
city
city
is
away.
very far.
Yeah, you're hours.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I think of in Iowa, a city away.
30 minutes or
Well, for me,
10 minutes.
it was 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Dallas
My
was
mom
the
and
same.
dad live in two cities. Those two cities are literally separated by a river.
Yeah.
So I mean, they are a bridge apart from
Yeah.
each other.
Wow.
Like,
Vegas-
it takes
Vegas like an
45
island.
seconds to go from city to city.
And I remember, in my hometown, thinking about, if we had to go to the next town over, it's just ugh, I don't want to do that, but it's it was 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
But I drive twice that
Oh,
to
yeah.
get here tonight,
It wasn't your first drive ever? Didn't the first time you ever drove a car, wasn't it to and fro from a city? You had some weird story.
Oh,
about
yeah,
that.
there was
yeah.
a weird
I had to-
story about
I had to
that.
pick up my
That was
parents'
it.
car,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. Yeah, because
Yeah.
your sister had a baby.
It wasn't the first time I've ever driven, though, but yeah.
Yeah.
He's
By
from the
myself,
country.
anyway. Yeah.
He was driving at 10.
But the proximity
Yeah,
thing is an
tractors.
issue.
Tractors.
I mean, I like, Ryder, that you're already starting to
His
search.
nickname for
I mean,
his sister.
historically, the tractor.
Oh,
Yes.
Jacob.
You said it.
You're dirty.
You said it.
No! I like the
did that.
gaslighting happening.
You said
You're
this.
the one who did it.
You're a
Nick.
pervert.
I just pointed it out.
I was acknowledging what you just said out loud. You disgusting animal.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, this is what you've signed up for, Ryder. But no, I like the idea of the proactive search for community. Websites like meetup.com. I actually have a little story about this. So, we've joked on the
I
show
don't
about...
believe you that you went on Meetup.
You know what? No, I did not.
Okay.
No, he
Okay.
finds his friends on AARP.
Yeah. Oh, I've been using that thing like crazy lately. Anyway, everywhere it takes it.
That's his nickname for
So
Nick's
good.
sister.
Yeah! The Association for Retired Persons. Yes, there it is.
I think she'd rather be called a tractor.
She's fine with it. She's fine with it. She goes by either.
Attractive,
answers
sturdy,
Please respond,
reliable,
Nick sister.
it's useful. It's
Very
useful.
useful.
Yeah.
Strong.
Kate's in our fantasy.
You take
football
care of
league,
it, it'll
too.
take care of you.
Carrie's great. But no, I did something social the other day. I was really proud of myself. I tried D&D.
Dungeons
What?
and
Dragons.
Dragons.
I tried
Really?
Dungeons and Dragons.
What do you mean by this?
I went
Drugs
to
and dudes.
Drugs and Wait a minute. What's the other thing you guys are talking about? I went to a informational
Do not
night where they
disturb.
teach you. It's like a big board game shop, and they teach you how to play it. And there's like experienced people there and amateurs there, and so it's welcome that you don't know.
So
You
this
don't have to
wasn't
feel
anybody
like-
that you know.
No.
Okay, I have a
I signed
question,
up for it.
Jimothy here. How can you go to that, but you won't just call your friend to go hang out? Like,
Yeah.
this to me is like, wow, that's a big deal. You like showed up at a place where you knew nobody and like
Yeah.
tried something new. Like, that's a big deal, but you'll do that instead
Well,
of like just.
I also hung out with a friend. I went to the George. I went and saw a football game with a buddy.
Yeah, but those are
Okay.
two separate incidents.
They were
right?
very, too.
Okay.
So, like,
Okay.
I'll hang out with friends to watch a
Okay.
game or something. I'll be social sometimes. But, like, I don't know. Like, I've been meaning to, like, try to make new friends and do new things.
Okay.
But, like, to this point of, like, Nick was bringing up how sometimes we can fear that, like, the one-on-one contact might be too intense, maybe because you are dealing with a lot. And I think what I heard Nick's suggestion that I took away was the idea of finding an activity to do that sometimes, like, sort of blunts that direct force of, like, I'm scared I'm going to overburden somebody with all of my truth. Well, sometimes if you find something to do together that's adjacent, you're moving along. And that's what D&D kind of was. There's an opportunity to meet people and do an activity that I'd never done before. And it was very pleasant and interactive. And I really enjoyed the people I played with. And I kind of thought, like, I like these people. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I could see myself having friendship with them. But we're playing a game. Like, we're just doing something. It's a silly activity this whole time. And I just really wanted to agree with you, Nick, that was a great way to start a new, like, break out of loneliness and, like, into socializing by embracing activity. And so I guess that was just sort of an abstract, random off the wall suggestion to the writer of, like, hey, there's meetup.com, but things like that, like board game groups in your community at board game shops. I don't know what your community's like, but here in Vegas, we seem to have a very big board gaming community. There's quite a few of these shops, and they all host different, like, gatherings and stuff, and it's really neat. And so
Okay.
I've started getting into, well, I'm trying it out anyway. So it's been pretty
I
fun
feel
so
like,
far.
you mentioned that.
What was my character's name? Yeah,
Yeah,
great question. So my character was
Like,
a
I'll know.
barbarian dwarf, and his name was Gimli.
Boo.
Way to think outside the box.
Not a creative man.
Boo.
Not a creative
Boo.
We all have our strengths. So we know Jim's is
Creativity,
best of Las Vegas.
Not one of them.
I'm surprised Best of Las Vegas wasn't your character name.
I hadn't won it at the time, but had I won it at the time, I would have used that.
My
that's
character's name
fair.
is Best of Las Vegas. He's a therapist.
He's a
He has a
therapist elf.
podcast.
Therapist elf.
He's 39, not 40.
And he can fly.
And he can fly. Yeah, that's right. He works at a paper company, but he can fly.
Well, so I was looking at when your free time is based on what you've shared, and you said that your son's dad takes him once a week. Is that like overnight? I wonder, because that would kind of be the time. And I was even going to suggest if that feels too overwhelming, what Jimly was.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
I'm fine if that lasts for
yeah.
your
That
entire
one's gonna
season.
be a while.
great.
Yep.
Gimli?
Yeah.
I like Gimlet.
Jimly.
It's just a little
That's my son's name. How dare you?
Jimmy and the Giblets.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna be like, "Where'd you get Gimlet from?" We're like, "I don't know."
It's been
hard
lost
to
in
know,
the days.
yeah.
Nobody knows.
They're like a surf rock family band.
Jimly and the Gimlet.
Jimly and the Giblets.
Jimmy and the Gimlet.
But just maybe try going to like a local coffee shop with a little book or
Book
an
clubs.
audio book.
Great
Book
too,
clubs
yeah.
are great. Just somewhere where maybe you're around people that are more open to chatting. Like I feel like at coffee shops, it's like, oh, is that your stuff or not? Or, oh, I like your jacket. There's room for conversations to happen with other people that are kind of hanging out too. And some people go and they just work and do their thing. That's fine. You don't have to bother them. But sometimes, working with clients, they will share that there's a lot of value they get from just being where other people are. And I don't want to push that so much because I know you can still feel lonely in a room full of people.
Yeah.
But sometimes that can help fill a little bit of a void if you're just at home, like 6 days a week and with your kiddo and just feeling more isolated, just trying to be around people. And if maybe diving into a board game group or a book club feels a little overwhelming, a way to kind of start that process besides the online arena is, I think, like, a coffee shop or a breakfast place or something like that, where you can just go kind of hang out by yourself for a little bit and get that alone time, but also be around others. My experience is that when you do things like even traveling alone, you're way more likely to meet people because it's like other people see you as a single person. You're non-threatening.
Right.
When I when Peter and I traveled together, then it's you're with your person, so I'm not going to bother you. So I feel like hangouts or just being out in your community are kind of similar to that too. If you're at a park or at a coffee shop, if you're sort of by yourself, you're opening up that door a little bit more for people to start a conversation with you or you to do that with them.
That's actually a really good point. I hadn't thought about that, but that has been my experience as well. Like when you're kind of by yourself, then that's, then people.
So many more experiences. I met this person, I met that person. But when you're with your partner, it's like, no, unless you do something with other people with partners, like a cooking class, then you don't meet anyone else.
Yeah, because it's like, well, I don't want to bother. I don't want to force my way into
together. They're
this.
doing their thing.
They're
having a good time. Not trying to bother them.
Yeah.
Loneliness is a
hard.
very big deal. And it's something that, I remember that the last Surgeon General, or I think the current one under Biden, had released a whole big annual report about that. And, to the Surgeon General's credit, has been doing a lot more effort to try to use that platform to speak more about a lot of things. Because it was actually, it's rooted in history. The Surgeon General was a big part of fighting tobacco use and cigarette use. Was the first one to just publicly acknowledge and use the platform that there was a cancer link and that this needed to be addressed. And it really started tipping the scales in that battle for awareness. And recently, the Surgeon General did a whole nother report on what they described as the epidemic of loneliness. And just speaking about how in America today, we have something of an epidemic of loneliness, that nobody is short of contacts. We have many, 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 many contacts, especially online, but few people that we deeply associate with, who truly know who we are and what we're going through. And most people report loneliness as a big part of their life, and depression and I get it. It is really tough to break through because you have to activate. You have to get out there and go looking for these relationships.
And be vulnerable.
Being vulnerable and reading them correctly. And it's also tough when you have kids, because then it's like, okay, I have to make time to do this. And you have special needs kids. It's like, it's always selfish to not be a part of this kid's life. It's always selfish to step away from them. And if I have one day a week that is the day my child is taken from me and is with their other parent, I have a shitload of things that need to get done on that day. This is the day I'm doing all the chores that I couldn't have driven my kid to, and done all the things for myself, and getting my hair done, and all the things that couldn't have been done. And so I get it. There's so many layers to this, which is one of the reasons why I strongly nudge toward, Autism Speaks. I really feel like it helps to have people in a very similar, relatable life situation, because they want to support you through it, because they relate to your truth and a big part of your life. It's not the only thing in your life. It doesn't define you, but it matters, and it's hard to, minimize that. It's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, loneliness is a hell of a thing. But
It is.
I hope you'll come join us in the Discord.
Yeah, please join us in the Discord. And I really hope that Whitney lived up to the standard.
Oh my gosh, the
I don't think
pressure
she
was
did.
real.
I don't think she did.
I don't think we did.
I got a
don't-
clap from the PhD in the room.
Oh,
you're
welcome. For now.
Thank you.
My day is coming. I'm going to strike back.
Puddin' cups.
Is that his nickname?
Puddin' Cups Jobin.
Gimlet pudding cups.
It's Gimli and the
Pudding
Gimlets.
cups.
Pudding cups.
Oh, episode title.
Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Gimlet pudding cups.
Thank
He pays the gimlets in puddin' cups.
Thank you. Gimlet
Pudding
pudding
cups.
cups.
Isn't that a drink? It
is now.
The
It will
gimlet.
be at the next
gimlet,
Speak Fest.
I was like, I swear that's a drink.
The gimlet is the version of the gimlet at Jim's bar.
It counts.
Scoot Fest.
I love
It's
it.
just apple juice.
That would be, Expired apple juice. Yeah. Served at room temperature.
Apple juice and milk.
It's apple juice that he had on the
1-to-1
top
ratio.
shelf that his kids didn't get to.
Is this apple juice or apple sauce? Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
It's whatever you believe it
It's
is.
a fuzzy apple. That's what that is.
Fuzzy
Everyone.
apple.
All right. Thank you, Ryder. Great question. And I hope that we could support you as a digital community,
Yeah.
but just know that it is very relatable and there's so many different practical solutions, but that everything you're talking about is important because it's something that other people are definitely living with right now. And it's part of why we create these podcasts. It's part of why we create these digital communities, to try to just take one step in the right direction. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are wrapping up the show. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by our Thera partners. I already closed the
Person
thing, so-
A. Person
Hey,
B.
all of you who I mentioned earlier in the show,
you over there.
thanks again.
We sure do like you.
And we're back.
Yeah.
And you're attractive, too.
You sure are good looking. You know who we're
Put your
talking
shirt
about.
back on.
Look
Oh
at
wait,
that
Jim
one.
and I were tied in the quiz questions. We need a tiebreaker.
Okay.
Nick, don't sabotage me.
I'll come up with. Keep talking. I'll come up
Whitney,
with a.
I'm sick and tired of your martyr complex.
I
You
like
have not
to
been sabotaged.
scapegoat.
He gives you
Nick's a
extra beats to think about it by being like, "Are you sure?"
He did
Okay.
talk to her. He did like.
I know. It's like,
You
it's
said
like-
otter. It
I
was
don't
a
know.
bad answer.
I don't
That's
know,
on you.
raccoons. Raccoons are trash. They're trash. You think they clean
Like,
their
I knew
food?
that Nick was trying to tell her they're eating trash, so they clean it
That's
first.
what I'm like. Yeah,
That's what
clean
Nick
it.
was trying to tell her, but all he told her was they're garbage animals.
Yeah.
I mean,
The beta. He's like, "Are you sure?"
Very sure. Yeah.
That's all it takes to talk me out of something.
I think I get to start this one because I think I started the first one. Then it went.
No,
I
we're
haven't
tied. I think we
started
just.
one.
I think we just
Just sudden
buzzed.
death. All right, let's just buzz in.
Okay.
Yeah, you
Go
started
for it.
one. You started the second one.
Oh, I
No
did the beta
options?
fish one.
If it goes to options, then it's just take your option.
Yeah.
Well, that was it for the animal one. So now I
Yeah.
got to go back to office trivia.
Yes.
Let's break it with office tree.
What is Aaron's real first name?
Fuck.
I don't know.
Was that a
Do you
buzz?
know?
Was that?
I was like, okay, no buzzes.
Yeah, we're gonna need options, and it's gonna be pretty damn.
I feel like we
boring.
just need a different question.
Okay.
What are the
listen to him.
options?
I feel like we need questions until we can buzz in.
Kelly, Jessica, Rachel, or Andrea?
Fuck. I don't know.
Andrea?
No.
Damn it.
Jessica,
No.
Kelly.
Wait, you're just okay.
I
give me
forgot the other
Kelly.
one. Kelly, Andrea.
You're right.
Yay!
So I won with patience.
Wow,
That's fair
Kelly.
for me. I'm really proud. All right, 1,000 points to Jim. All right. As we wrap up the show, we want to remind you, you can sign up at patreon.com/therapy. You can get our extended show ad-free a day early, as well as enjoy our live chat, Discord community, and our weekly deep dives, interviews, skill shares, research roundups, and rants. And we want to welcome some new friends to the Thera Party who signed up at patreon.com/therapy. Who's new, Nick?
We got 2 new Therapods. Welcome, Riley and Sandy Salmon.
Salmon.
I
Is
knew,
it
Jim,
Salmon?
I knew
Jewish.
Jim was going
Yeah.
to say
Okay, so
that.
if it's
Why
he's
did I
gonna
know?
correct me on
Yeah,
every
it's
word. It doesn't
Salmon.
matter.
Jewish, yeah.
Well, actually,
So now you
It's
know.
Riley.
Riley. I like it. Also, of course, we want to praise our theity, the Dark Lord himself, Jim's Fasha, and our Thera partners, the benevolent, revered, generous, and flagrantly pro-therapy diehards who love you all so much they give till it hurts, Dirty B and Pickett, and our bosses, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of our fan club, Jake Schneider, Myra, Robert Brownie Jr. Mint, Smitty Scoop, Ben Don, Judy Schneider, Kayla Lansbury, Malia, Leon Kassab, Mason Miller, Richard fucking Macy, Carolyn Albert, Kevin Chamberlain, Tess Miller, Sammy Scoop, Ben Stanley slapping your face, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Byler T, Mike Helm, Paris, Darren Cunningham, Lib, Team Monaco, Thunder Cougar, Falcon Scoop, Matt and Lisa Tangeman, Heyo, Oscar Swanrose, A Sunny Boy, Slurpy Kaye, Motherfucker, Sandra McWaffle, Dan Martin, Hannah Marie, Andrew Langmead, Emma Kane, Alina, Cody the DeLorean Guy, Sam Cohn, and Nathan Mookie.
if you would like to hear this episode uncut and unedited
And why wouldn't you?
and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy, and thank you for supporting mental health.
That's all the time we got for this week's session. Want to thank our landlords, Matt Mattingly's Ice Cream Social Podcast. And thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. We really appreciate it. Hey, remember, Pod Therapy isn't something to keep all to yourself. Share the episode with the world. Tag us on the socials when you do. It's at PodTherapyGuys on Instagram, Threads, and Twitter. I think it's Pod Therapy at Blue Sky. It's /PodTherapy on Facebook. And don't forget about all the extra goodies at patreon.com/therapy.
And if you're thinking about submitting a question to the show, you should do it. Ask anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. You can also click on the link in the episode description. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Whitney.
I'm Jim.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment next week.
Boom. Man.
All right, Jimlet, good job.
Sick of all this winning.
All I do is
No, I don't think you are.
win.
I think you are addicted to it. I think you love it. And
Need
for 1,000
more
points,
Yeah,
best of Las Vegas. You don't need that many.
I don't.
You got
Goodbye.
5. Bye.
Bye.